Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Mindshifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeannie. Michael and Jeannie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rachma. Michael is the author of So Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeannie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeannie Ryce.
To the brightness within you and the truth that is rooted within me.
Hi, and welcome to Mindshifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce. And we are back stateside, and it's good to be able to have a connection on the cell phone and not have to worry about anyone not hearing us. So today is Memorial Day celebration. I quit counting the numbers after we reached 1 year, but we're doing it every day, and that's to honor those who have participated or been forced to participate in war on this planet, and we want to put an end to that war. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169. Press 1. That's the chance for you to talk to Michael, or to Ari, or to Tim, or to David. Everybody is on the line with us already. So welcome, Michael. Michael. Do we have Michael? Hello.
Well, hi there,
all right.
lady. How are you?
There he is.
Yes, here he is. Excuse me. And we are delighted to be here to participate with you in the learning, the teaching of forgiveness, something that we're all engaging in on some level. And, of course, our focal point being the forgiveness of everything inside of us that never belonged in a human form. And, of course, there's a logical progression to getting to that idea, and rather simply it goes like this. Hold the newborn child, you know what human life is. The embodiment of human life, obviously it speaks of what a human form is for. First order of business, the embodiment of love. Put anything in that's unlike love, and you begin to destroy human life. What we're looking to do with this work is to restore human life, to tip the balance. Right now, there's a balance on planet Earth of hostility and fear that leaves human life almost disappeared. And, of course, the behaviors that come when there's no human life are as insane and as crazy as you can possibly imagine. Every atrocity is possible without the presence of human life. And so what we're looking to do is to restore human life, and let's shift the balance. Let's go back to our human lives. We went to see an interesting film last night with some friends, and the brainwash of Hollywood is upon us, as usual, and it shows this young girl, born as an innocent young child who maintains a certain level of her innocence. In fact, there's an interesting scene in this film. It's called the Snow White and the Huntsman. There's an interesting scene where there's this troll that's getting ready to attack, and it's so clear this young lady just stands as this active presence of love, and the troll backs down and walks away instead of, tearing her apart as it was getting ready to do. So it's a pretty powerful scene. But then, of course, the old game of carbon-based memory, the old game of the world myth takes over. The good guy kills the bad guy. And it's interesting if you watch the last 10 or 15 years of films coming out of Hollywood, how now that women are wealth producers, you have to have a way to kill them off. And the way you kill them off is you convince them that their can be big and tough, and they can go off to war and kill people too, just like men do. And so, when you got to get rid of the wealth producers, you just send them off to war and sink the wealth to the bottom of the oceans, and there you go. So here's this young girl who's innocent, et cetera, and all of a sudden now she puts on her tough guy act and she puts on the armor, and now she's going to lead the army to kill the enemy. And, it's like you can convince carbon-based memory of just about anything. And here is another very convincing show. And, of course, the result is she wins the kingdom back, and, the evil witch is defeated. And once again, the good guy kills the bad guy and is the hero. And using the tools of war and murder and rage and pain infliction, now everything's okay. Now it's good. And that's such a brainwash that's taken over our planet that people actually believe that garbage. People actually believe that you can produce a constructive result. I love what Mahatma Gandhi says. The tools he used to produce a result always produces a result like the tools. And this carbon-based memory device that we have can be convinced to believe any pile of BS that you want to lay on it. If there's no human life to choose differently, the strongest energetic pattern is going to rule. And this game right now, by and large, is the good guy kills the bad guy is the hero, and everything, everybody lives happily ever after once you kill somebody. Well, we're here to say that's a lie. That's fraud. And we need to undo that whole belief system within us and shift the balance on planet Earth, because as long as the good guy kills the bad guy, there's more kill, and that means that the killer, who is the hero, who saved the day and saved the kingdom, just set up more kill energy to draw more killers in. And the creative process goes on. Now, if we're not creative beings, then that's all, crazy stuff. But once you realize you're a creator, once you engage in some form of hostility, fear, war, or murder, you just created more of that on the planet. We're here to put an end to it. We're here to invite you today to participate with us in being restored totally, completely, 100% to a human life, where no matter what happens in your environment, your response is to bring forward as a creator the active presence of love, a human life. To do that, your only job, really simple, your only job is going to be to forgive everything in you that's unlike that love. Of course, now we said simple, we didn't say easy. It's a challenge because for generations and generations and generations, the hate, the fear, the rage, the grief, the guilt, the pain, the sadness, the sorrow, the murder, and the war has been a way of non-being life on planet Earth for centuries. So who's going to come to the point where they understand principles, and then no matter what a carbon-based memory system says, they're going to live by those principles and produce different results rather than live by their misunderstanding of the way the universe operates. Once you understand how the universe operates, you become obligated to live by its principles. If your non-being mind has a misunderstanding of that, then you've got to start to ignore what your non-being mind tells you is the solution to everything and step back into your human life. And so that's what we're here to support you in. And, of course, we're going to end war by bringing in enough human life that we tip the balance on planet Earth. We tip the energy scale from the hostility, the fear, the non-being world into people who function as the active presence of love. And we got, the week before we left, we got a really sweet call from Linda up in Ohio. And Linda was sharing with us a conflict that happened between she and her husband, and how they were both at the intensive in Palm Coast a few weeks ago, and how, she stormed out and he stormed out, and she was ready to go back for, and how she stopped, did some forgiveness, came back, and when her husband walked back in the room, he said, "Hey, honey, let's do a love exchange." Instead of, here we are, doing the old game of war again. Now, that's just one little tiny, tiny example inside of a living room in a home. We get enough of those examples happening. Yeshua gave us a principle. It's called critical mass in physics. Now, he didn't say anything about critical mass, but here's what he did say. A little leavening leavens the whole loaf. Linda and her husband changed their relationship that day. Linda and her husband changed their family system that day. Linda and her husband changed their children's lives that day. Linda and her husband changed the world that day. We get enough people voting for that change that instead of accepting the counsel of doing what you feel like doing out of your pain, your trauma, or your rage, you stop and you go, oh, I have pain, I have trauma, I have rage. I think I'll apply forgiveness. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to let him off the hook for what he just did to me. What he just did to me, let's acknowledge, was terrible, nasty, never should have been done. Not speaking of the situation we're talking about with Linda and her husband, just in a general principle. Okay, what they did, whoever it was not good. However, that's not the cause of what I'm experiencing inside of me. And if we let that be the cause, if we pretend that's the cause, then we'll bounce from trauma incident, we'll inflict trauma, somebody else will feel justified in inflict trauma, we'll feel justified inflicting trauma, and down the tube we go. It's almost classic Satanism when you look at it from that perspective. Now when you wake up and you go, no, I'm going to function like a human being, I'm going to change the dynamic here, everything starts to change, and that's what we're here to support you in. If you're not familiar with how to forgive, if you're not familiar with that tool, as we presented, if you go to our website, www.whyagain.com, on the right-hand side, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheets. And the first 7 links under that section will give you the whole forgiveness story. It'll walk you through the worksheet. It'll give you the worksheet. It'll give you instructions. The whole thing is there. First 7 links. Radio shows where we live take somebody through it. Please, please pick up the tool, put it to work in your life. That's what we're here to support you in. And we're in Boca Raton, Florida. Tonight we're going to be out in Wellington, actually. I think Jeannie's got it on the website at 7 o'clock tonight. There's a potluck out in Wellington, vegetarian potluck. And so
I don't have any of it on the website yet.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get it there before too long. I'll hope. And so we're going to be in Wellington, or if you want to drop us a note, we'll give you the information if you're in the Wellington area, just north and west of Lake Worth, tonight at 8 o'clock. 7 o'clock is the potluck. And then on Wednesday night, Michael and Margaret have a support group here in Boca Raton at Dr. Love's office. We are planning to be there. And then Thursday night, Patricia has started a support group down in Fort Lauderdale. We're planning to be there Thursday night. Friday night, we're going to be at the Quaker Center in Lake Worth doing Why Is This Happening to Me Again? Free open workshop. Come and play if you're in the Lake Worth area. Anywhere, if you want to drive up from Miami or drive down from Jupiter, come on and play. Friday night, and then Saturday, we're planning to do, if we have enough people to do it. Right now, it looks like it's solidifying. Planning to do a mind shifter and still point breathing workshop at the same location in Lake Worth. So let us know if you want to participate. So, Jeannie, do we have David and the crew out at Heartland with us? Do we have Dr. Tim? Let's say hello.
We have all of them plus Ari on the phone.
Oh, awesome. Welcome, everybody. Well, let's see. Let's start with Dr. Tim and say hello and see how he'd be.
Doing very well, thank you. Good to have you back inside.
Oh, it's nice to be home.
Less pressure on me here to get online
yes.
on time.
Less on us, too. You ought to see the running around we did in the last 2 weeks to try to do what we were able to do in the show. It was pretty crazy. But anyway, it all worked out, and we certainly appreciate the support of you taking that on the last couple of weeks. I know that was a big task.
Well, we hope you had a restful and productive stay in the Caribbean and that you're coming back all charged up and ready to go. And
we're on rock and roll.
I'm anxious to hear how Ari's doing. Haven't heard him in months.
Yes, well, let's say a quick hello to David, and then we'll chat with Ari a little bit. David, how do you be, sir?
Doing well, sitting here with Joanne and with Rick, eagerly awaiting to hear Ari and what's going to happen around the Fun, Food, and Forgiveness workshop.
Cool. All right. Well, anything to share from Richard or Joanne before we shift over and say hi to Ari?
Hello, this is Joanne.
Hey, young lady.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Well,
Very
great.
well, thank you. How about you?
I'm wonderful. I just wanted to share the out picturing from last week. I invited everyone with on the phone to hold a space of love for a niece and the family. The niece was in a car accident and has had a series of surgeries, and at the moment I didn't know that there would be another one, actually. So what I had done was organized a family and friends circle of prayer call on a conference call line so that people could at one time pray, about her and to her and for her, and she could hear the prayer. It turned out that she was just coming out of surgery and wasn't able to hear it, but from Connecticut all the way to California, there were about 30 people on the line in less than a 48-hour notice, and 30 people that announced themselves and prayed on the line. So that was a wonderful, loving response. And then the next day, I saw that, my daughter called and said that some of the cousins had decided to do a fundraiser because the children of the injured person, one is graduating from high school tomorrow, and he's the oldest at home, and they're two younger than him. So anyway, they are doing a fundraiser for those kids that are there because the mother is the sole support. So that's a wonderful response. And I want to thank everyone for holding the space and for prayers and whatever else that, came as a result of that. So I just wanted to share that report.
Very good. Well, we certainly hold the space for her. How is she doing?
I haven't spoken to him this morning, but I'm just, I've spoken about her, in the prayer, and she's had the incident occurred just before I came, and this was about her 5th surgery, so that's quite a lot.
Right. Wow.
So we're knowing that everything is in divine order with that. So anyway, I'll keep you posted.
Okay, well, we'll keep holding that space of love, that space of prayer, and we support you in staying connected in that space of love for her and for her total, complete, and as easy as possible the recovery she could have, and a world of abundance for her and her children.
Thank you. Her name is Michelle, by the way, and the family name is Tillett. So these boys are, independently on their own right now for whatever length of time it is. So I'm sure they could use a lot of light and love. The youngest one is 12, and the oldest is 17. So anyway, we include them, embrace them in the light in this situation. So thank you, guys. I'm going to give the phone to Richard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Hello, this is Rick.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Oh, good. What's happening in your world? Anything exciting to report?
Well, I'm all caught up on projects around here. As a matter of fact, I put in a bit of a vegetable garden out back, and this morning we're getting some much-needed rain. So everything's going really well. I'm really kind of anticipating listening to Ari.
Fabulous. Well, let's put Ari on the line and see what he's got to say. How are you, good sir?
I'm very good, and good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. It was good to talk to you yesterday and to hear that you're through and out the other side of that little fall that you took and finished with the physical therapy and released to health and well-being. And we certainly look forward to the things you're going to share with us at Heartland, and we look forward to putting our hands on you and doing some orthobiotomy to help finish clearing out the little trauma that you went through. I don't know if you want to share anything about that or what, but.
Well, certainly I can share it. I tore my Achilles tendon, and that posed a lot of you could call it opportunities that you just don't expect kind of in life. And it gave me a new outlook on, I think, different things. through sometimes adversity, you learn a tremendous amount.
Sure.
And I would say it was a very, big learning curve, and really an appreciation of just how we function. Because when you're deprived of function, you don't really think about, when you look at people around you, everyone just kind of walks along. But when you're not walking along, it really changes things, and just perspective-wise. So
yeah, there's so many things to appreciate that. Yesterday when we were having dinner, actually about the time I was talking with you yesterday, there was a young woman sitting at the table with us, and she was talking about a wrist injury that she had and how just something as simple as putting on her makeup was impossible for her. And it's interesting how this non-being mind can find a million things to complain about, and loses awareness of all the things that we have that are so awesome to be appreciated that just get kind of forgotten. So
yeah, and the simple things that we think are simple are, it's only simple when we're whole, but when you're not whole, it's not so simple.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I'm
about
feeling good and moving forward, and looking forward to coming down and playing and teaching and doing some a little bit of food, or a lot of food.
Fabulous. Well, have you figured out yet what day we could dedicate to a show later in the week or early next week to have people get their questions together and get them ready so we can really focus on that?
I didn't, but I will by the end of the day, and I'll call you later and give that.
Okay, and then we'll just let folks know. I know you'd said that Friday wasn't going to work, and maybe Thursday or maybe next Monday would be the best day to do it, and that'll give us time to talk about it.
Right.
Get people gathering some questions. But in the meantime, share with us a little bit. What you were talking about yesterday was pretty awesome. Share with us a little bit about what you're thinking of.
Well, obviously, this will be one of the first times that we've done cooked food down at Heartland.
Right.
For any length of time, not just a day or two. So we were going to go into and I'm also, as open to suggestions as to what people like and that type of thing. They're going to be coming down. But basically we'll be doing just fabulous vegetarian food, just like you would, if you were eating meat. Chinese, egg rolls, spring rolls, grilled vegetables, wraps. Just basically anything you want to make, you can make in the vegetarian and vegan world fabulously. It's just that people don't do it. And that's where we're going to focus, is just nice gourmet vegetarian vegan food.
Cool. Well, do you have a sort of a teaser or two you can give us to lead us up to a show later that will dedicate more to food?
I think a lot is going to, people will be surprised about what you can do with a barbecue in the vegetarian world. Because we can make some fabulous, fabulous barbecue, which people don't think of at all. Usually they think of big slabs of meat, roasting for 12 hours and smoke and all sorts of other things. Usually a little pink salt, which is nitrate. But of course, we don't use any of that. So I think that that's one aspect people will do, and we're just going to, I don't know what a real teaser is. I think it's all kind of good. So in my mind, it doesn't. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, one of the things that you mentioned yesterday is that we would start on a search for some local hardwood and be doing some smoked items,
right?
With different vegetables, and then turning it into barbecue. That really, I don't know of anywhere I've ever really found a decent vegetarian barbecue. So people will be able to participate in creating that, knowing really how to put their hands on it and do it as part of this 10-day workshop, and to create some really That's an
and
awesome
we should have an
task.
abundance of stuff down there at that time, wouldn't we, in the farmers market?
Oh, yes, I would expect so. Yeah, it should be in great shape. Middle of July, Yeah, for those who don't know what we're talking about, we each year at Heartland, before we start our intensive season, we begin usually with a work month, we call it, or work week, and this year it's going to be 10 days, and we're entitling it Food, Fun, Forgiveness, and Work Project. So and it'll kind of be an economy program where Ari's going to be there doing, as he's telling us about some of this food stuff that he's going to do, and then we'll be doing some work projects during the day. In the evenings, we'll be doing classes. We're planning to do at least 2 mind shifters and still point breathing processes through the period of the 10 days, and then the food project. So, and of course, we've got the lake there, so we'll be doing a little bit of playtime as well. So it ought to be a really awesome week, and it's an economy program. You can come and do 10 days, and the 10 days is a total of $750 for everything. Accommodation, food, workshop materials, and some of the stuff Ari was sharing with me yesterday was like, my mouth started. I was sitting eating dinner at a Thai restaurant, but I was like, oh man, I could taste that. I could go for those portobello mushrooms done like that, Ari. Oh, those shiitakes, those local organic shiitakes, the way you're talking about doing those, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, and they also, most people don't know, but there's like the Mushroom King down there.
Right.
I mean, he produces mushrooms that come to Chicago and go all over the place. So he definitely is one of the kings of. And it's local, it's fresh. Well, it can't be fresher if we go and pick it up, the day it's cut.
Right.
So I don't know that people are also used to eating such fresh, amazing food like that. Everything we get in the supermarket's always, 3, 4, 5 days old, and that's considered fresh.
That's pretty fresh for most markets around the country.
Right. I'm saying that's fresh. That already is fresh. But when you talk about it's a day old or 3 hours old, I mean that truly is fresh.
Right. Yes.
And that's a real experience to have such fresh live food. The second it's cut, it starts losing moisture, it changes, and so it's a lot more vibrant when it's just harvested.
Right.
Which gives us a lot more vibrancy.
There you go. Live food leads to life. Dead food leads to death, and so we'll be doing some live along with some cooked things, but as fresh as possible. We'll be doing some live, awesome marinades, and I mean the stuff that Ari does. If you haven't ever been to Heartland and you don't know Ari, this man is such a walking encyclopedia. And later in the week or early next week, we'll do a show, and we'll just invite everybody to have questions for Ari, because when people are in the kitchen with Ari, many people go in there with their notebooks and they don't stop writing until Ari stops talking, because once you start Ari on a topic, it's like, okay, here's the whole encyclopedia on how that works with food. So we really, really appreciate you, Ari, and
thank you. And also, obviously, we'll be throwing in, as you said, we'll be having some of the, I would say, some of the favorite raw dishes that we always have had, which, of course, is the Caesar salad and the marinated kale, which almost everyone who hates kale and says, oh, I never eat kale, we've converted, I don't know how many hundreds of people to, wow, kale can really be good and raw.
Yes.
And we'll even, this time, we can throw in a cooked kale recipe, which will be, I think you'll see the difference. But, side by side, cooking with acids and cooking with heat sometimes.
That's a great idea. I hadn't thought of that. That's a cool idea, to do a cooked, heat-cooked dish, and then a cooked dish using the different marinades and lemons that you use that isn't cooked at all. It's still raw and filled with enzymes. That'd be really cool to do several things and be able to taste them both at once.
Right. You'll have them side by side. They'll be vastly different, because my kale recipe is going to be a lightly smoked seared kale leaf on the barbecue, and then it'll be marinated, so it'll have a little bit of smoky kind of hint to it. So and you'll be able to compare the softness to the different textures that it does create from just a straight raw, which doesn't appear to be raw. It's not like eating, as people always, when they hear the kale thing, it's like, oh boy, gonna eat raw kale.
For 2 hours.
Yeah, you know, and because it breaks down, each way breaks down the fibers just in a different format. So we're so accustomed to just cooking with heat that I think that too will be a great experience side by side when you have, you know, the cooked next to the raw.
Yes.
So it'll be a kind of a palate teaching as well, and people will
very
become.
Cool. I hadn't thought of that aspect of it.
What's that?
I say that's very cool. I hadn't thought of that aspect of it, but, you know, when I think about your raw kale recipe, and I think in the past when I've done raw kale, and, you know, you sit there and chew for 20 minutes to try and get a mouthful down, and the way that you marinate and such, it's just as tender as if you're eating leaf lettuce, and awesomely tasty. But having it side by side with the cook, that's just that's a really cool approach. That's going to be a nice experience for me.
Yeah, and people will see the way spices work very differently when you apply heat to them than when you marinate with them. It's a different, it's an entirely the same identical spice, just heated becomes very different. So I think that too will be just kind of it's an experience that most people don't experience. That is part of kind of all that. I think that'll be a lot of fun, and it'll give an appreciation for actually the raw, because the raw takes much longer because of the marination and everything else.
Right.
So, but yeah, we're going to do several side-by-sides just for fun, as I call it.
That will be fun. It'll be fun to do, especially with the different mushrooms too. To do some of them cooked and then do some of them in the raw format that you've done, and you know, maybe the dehydrator, that sort of thing. That'll be really, really awesome.
Yeah, and then also we'll open up the opportunity of doing a lot of nice rolls with the different things. Just we can do like a cooked and raw combo rolls, which will be, you know, fabulous. When you're doing like a sushi roll with, you know, grilled portobellas or some of the grilled shiitakes diced very fine inside a bed of, you know, organic brown rice, or we can use wild rice, and then we'll put on top of that, you know, avocado, some sprouts. We have a great sprouter there, which I'm sure we'll get going, and have some spicy radish sprouts or horseradish sprouts. It'll give it that wasabi type feel. And then roll it all up, and you have your kind of raw and cooked goodness, hot and spicy, and easy to prepare, and actually travels well. If someone wants to roll one of those in plastic and bring it to work, it's like a perfect sandwich material without having bread or wheat or gluten or any of that. So that, too, is kind of on the list. I don't know if it's on your list, but it was on my list.
Well, this is going to be your show on that aspect. So I'll if I come up with any thoughts, I'll certainly offer them. But that sounds really, really, really awesome. My palate is already going, okay, let's go for it.
Yeah, and then plus, as if people don't know, I mean, we're really hands-on at Heartland. So it's not that you're going to just look, or I'm going to, you know, when you say I start talking, which I do, and I just keep going, and my hands keep waving around all over the place. But you know, you're in there and you're working, and you'll see how it works when you take, you know, 4 pounds of kale and it starts off as a bowl, you know, one of our biggest bowls we started with, and then it ends up being, you know, it goes down by probably 60% or so, and you'll see it, and you'll understand kind of the process of, you know, of food, which I think is all part of the fun and the learning and the whole thing about, I mean, I don't consider it that much work in the kitchen, but, you know, some people do, but I can say most people have had fun in the kitchen.
Yeah, I know that over the years when people have been in the kitchen with you, and I hear back from them later, it's like, you know, I used to stay away from raw because I heard it was more work, and yeah, it is, but the way that you presented it was so intriguing to people that it's like it's not just, we're getting something to fill our stomachs. It's like an art, and as people study with an artist like you are, okay, so it takes 5 hours to create a painting, but it's 5 hours of delicious enjoyment to do it, sort of thing. So I know that I've certainly gained a lot of appreciation for food and food preparation as I've spent time in the kitchen with you over the years, and had the opportunity to chow down on it too, and to learn more about putting nutrients in the body as opposed to just putting something to fill the stomach. That's another, the understanding that you have of how nutrients work and such is awesome.
Well, yeah, and I firmly do believe that if you enjoy your food, it digests better. There's just no question that, when it's prepared with loving hands and good energy, and you sit down and really enjoy it and let the food speak for itself. Most people they speak over their food. They don't actually look at it and enjoy it. But after you've worked on it and cut it and prepared it, you'll look at it with a different light. Sort of like,
sure.
Sort of like with my Achilles tendon, it made me look at things with a very different light. When you're going through it, it's not that much fun, which I would say it's fun in the kitchen. But, when you come out the other end, it gives you different lights.
Yes.
And food actually, in the spectrum, different foods from an energy field have very different colors. So, and that's why when people always talk about certain vitamins and stuff, they'll also talk about the color of the food and what that brings to you, which is always kind of an interesting, way of looking at food.
Yeah, each color represents a different nutrient base, and one of the things that Jeannie found when we were doing we did 2 intensives in Palm Coast here back a few weeks ago, and she found a new kind of rice which we hadn't ever used at Heartland before, but turned out to just work really well in the nori rolls and such, called forbidden rice, and it soaked really well to sprout, and it was awesome, very nutty, very much like wild rice, but a whole lot easier to handle. Have you ever worked with forbidden rice?
No, I'm not familiar with the product.
Oh, well, take a look. We found it at you don't have the health food store up there. There's one called Richard's here, and apparently it was called forbidden rice because in China only the kings, only those who ran the game were allowed to eat. It was forbidden to the commoner because it was so exotic. And it's a dark color rice, almost a purple black, kind of like the wild rice. But
I've seen the purple. I've seen the purple black. I didn't. It might be the same. I mean, it has to have a little bit of the wild or crossover like a wild rice to sprout and break down, because just plain brown rice really doesn't, in the raw world, it doesn't sprout.
Well,
Right.
This one sprouted in just about 5 hours. It was awesome.
Oh, that is good. Well, definitely check that on the list.
It was delicious. Yeah, we'll make sure we order some of that in bulk.
Yeah, because you could use it for both cooked and, did you cook some or not? Or you did it all raw?
No, the intensive was all raw, and it was awesome.
Well, actually, Michael, the very first night I cooked the rice and then did the cauliflower steaks on top of it.
That's right.
So we did do it both ways. Then we soaked it and did it in the nori rolls, and it was fabulous both ways.
Yeah, that was an interesting opening meal. We had been at a restaurant over in Sarasota, and we had cauliflower steaks. That was the entree in this restaurant. and they took heads of cauliflower and cut them into steaks and kind of put them on the like on a grill or braised them a little bit, and then a sauce, and that was awesome with the rice. That's right, you did do both cooked and raw. So, but I'd never seen cauliflower steaks before. That was kind of an interesting entree at a really cool little restaurant over in Sarasota.
Well, and it sounds like, and they probably did both, is my guess, because you'd have to give it a quick little, blanch and then put it on the barbecue because it's such a hearty, or they'd have to marinate it a lot because it's a real hearty cauliflower going. I'm sure they cut it, straight through. You get a lot of the little florets are delicate, but the core is pretty hard. You'd have to do some kind of prep with that.
Right.
What kind of sauce was on it?
She did a red sauce, red sauce.
It was our sweet Italian tomato sauce that we do raw for spaghetti and stuff that we do raw.
Gotcha.
The only thing that I did different was I sauteed some onions and mushrooms and put in it, and I did heat it up for the first meal. But it was the exact same recipe.
Oh, yeah, well, the first meal is usually cooked, anyways. At least it has been historically. So. Well, that sounds great. We look forward to working with that.
Let's check and see if, Jeannie, are there any callers that have any questions for Ari?
Nobody has their hand up. Our calling number is 646-200-4169. We have a few people in the chat room. It's a little low today on attendance, but the switchboard's full, but nobody has their hand up.
Okay, well, if anybody has a question for Ari or a comment, please share it with us. Or Ari, if you've got anything else to share, let's do it. And we'll look forward to hearing back from you before the day's out. And tomorrow's show, we'll start talking about, getting people excited and getting some questions lined up for you on one of the shows later in the week or early next week.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Sounds great.
We appreciate it. We look forward to seeing your sweet face.
Me too. I would appreciate seeing you guys again. It's been a while.
It has been. It has. It'd be good to see
Not
you.
since when we were with Dr. Tim.
Yes. Yep. That's, I don't know, one day so much the same as another, but what's that? Well, it's a year ago now. That's it.
Yeah, I think it is. Is Dr. Tim still there? Guess not.
You still with us, Tim?
He is still turned on.
Okay, he's in his office, so he may be, have gotten another call or something he has to pay attention to. Sometimes he has to do
Ari,
that.
before you go, we do have a caller, so let's wait and see. It may be a question for you, so if you'll hold on.
Okay,
area
sure.
code 786, you're on the air.
Well, hello, Michael and Jeannie and Chef Ari. This is Julio down in Miami.
Hey there, young man.
How's it going, Michael?
Hey, we're rocking along. We're in the big city of Boca Raton and getting ready to head to Wellington tonight. So we're on go, and you're on our list to get in touch with and maybe meet at Sublime or something like that, somewhere in the middle to connect before we leave here.
Well, I'll talk to you more about that when you call me. No puedo hablar ahora. Michael, I was calling because I wanted to tell Chef Ari that Jeannie's cooking was fantastic at the N7 in Palm Coast, and we really enjoyed the food. So I'm looking forward to more of that wonderful food out at Heartland.
Yeah, I heard she did do fabulous.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yes, everybody really, and people that had not tasted raw cuisine before really got into it. Most everybody devoured all the food. It was really wonderful.
Well, good. Yeah, most people don't even know what. Truth is, most people don't know what raw food is. They think of it like Michael said, that you sit down with a bowl of kale. It takes you an hour to chew a bowl of kale if you don't treat it right. It's not fun dining. and they don't realize that it can be fun, fantastic, and gourmet, all at the same time, and good for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I know that, Jeannie, you took quite a few pictures in the 2 intensives we did in Palm Coast. Are they on the web?
No, they're not yet.
Oh, okay. I just thought they might have been. And,
just another one on my plate.
I got it. I understand, sweetie. You're appreciated for everything you get accomplished.
You get a big plate. Back to school.
Yep. Pun intended on your plate, eh?
Yeah, I just said she gets a real big. You wear many hats, and so you're gonna be joining us in the kitchen, Jeannie?
I'll be down there. I'm going to miss the first 3 days because we actually have Mind Shifters and Still Point Breathing in Birmingham, Alabama on Saturday. You all start on Thursday, and so we'll miss the first 3 days. But as soon as the Mind Shifters is over, we're going to head that way. So we'll get in really late Saturday night or early Sunday morning.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we'll be there for Sunday. We'll miss the first couple days. So, Julio, did you have a question for Ari?
No, not really. I do plan on getting into vegan raw cuisine, cooking in the near future. I haven't had an opportunity to do it at least like I'd like to 80%. Because right now, as you know, I'm doing a juice fast, and I'm on my 22nd day. And up to now, in 4 months of the juicing plus the vegan, the cooked vegan that I was doing before, just went over 70 pounds.
Say that again.
I just went over 75 pounds lost in doing a juicing. A juice fast that I've been doing for 22 days, and previous to that, I was eating vegan.
Wow, that's pretty awesome, sir.
Yes, it's starting to really, people really notice now.
I bet they do. You're a shadow of your former self.
Yes,
good
absolutely.
for you, Julio.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Cool.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys sometimes this week. Maybe not for dinner because I'm juicing. That's what I was getting at before, Michael. But at one of your workshops or something.
Okay, sounds good, sir. We'll be in touch.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
646-200-4169. We got anybody else on the line, sweetie?
No, nobody else has their hand up.
Okay. Well, anybody else that is on the line? Dr. Tim, David, Joanne, Richard, have any questions or thoughts for Ari? Anything to share? Maybe, Richard, you could share with Ari what the new kitchen setup is looking like. Richard?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe you and David, of course, is I know David said that he'd pulled out the stumbling block to the walk-in is now gone. David got a saw, I guess, and sawed that piece of concrete out so that there's a clear pathway there. And Richard's been working on, actually I don't know who all, but Richard I know at least has been working on setting up the new stovetop and oven. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about where that's at, get Ari's input on it.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to go down there today, actually, and put the new jets in the stovetop. But I'm going to wait until it stops raining. We got a thunderstorm going on at the moment. But one question I would have would be for Ari would be the stove height. What would be the exact That's one question that comes to mind.
So what would the top of the stove be? What level would you want it at, Ari?
I would assume pretty much, I mean, you wouldn't want it as high as the work counters because, you got tall pots. So standard height is, we're in somewhere between, I would say if I were picking a number, I'm actually in front of my stove here, we'd be around 37 to the top of the stove, 37, 38.
Okay. We do have, I think, out the back door, Richard, is a stove that's a standard height stove that got set out there. You could maybe just check that and so go with the standard height, Ari?
Yeah, the standard height. I mean, as I said, you don't want to go too tall, like on top of the work counter, because if you're making bigger pots or you're doing soup or something, you almost need a ladder to get to the stove. It's you have to think about the taller pots. So that's why I said the standard height is pretty much, it's a little low, but it makes it workable for all sorts of, which is that 37, 38 kind of to the top of the burner.
All right. Awesome. Cool.
Do you have a vent, or where are you putting the stove? That would be the question I would ask.
Yeah, I was, David and I were just in there last night, and I think probably the best spot as it appears is that new doorway just to the right of that where the old wall used to be. There used to be a sink there.
Outside of the main kitchen?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're talking about where the air conditioner is?
That area, but not back where the air conditioner is.
Right on the side. Well, there was plumbing and gas and everything right on the side there.
Yeah, right where those pipes come in.
Yeah, cool. I mean, that's the most logical place because they're already there.
Yeah, sounds good. And then we can just we can fashion a top for it, so when we're not cooking, we can just use it as a prep surface. So it'll double up the use that way. Cool. Fabulous.
Yeah, the top will be very good because there's always a shortage of workspace during just raw time.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, anything else from you folks at Heartland for Ari? Dr. Tim, are you back with us?
Had my mute button on. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there he is. Well, I think maybe Ari had a question or a comment for you. I'm not sure.
Well, no, I was just going to say it was nice to touch base. As I said to Michael, we haven't seen each other in the last time was, I guess it was almost a year ago.
Yep, getting on to a year.
So.
Well, I was going to comment that I am one of the many hundreds who have converted to eating kale.
You're the kale king now.
Oh, well, that's some of my friends, when I haven't seen them for a while, that's what they ask. Do you have any kale? Can you give me some kale? What's that recipe again? Can you share that with me? So
it is an awesome recipe, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's so many things you can do with it.
Right. By the way, we have revamped the recipes book, and I think it's up to around 160 pages. And I don't know. I'll have to chat with Jeannie. It's a project that's on my plate for some touch-up work to do before we reprint it. But maybe, seeing as how we're getting this close, we'll go through this 10-day food, fun, and forgiveness and make any additions or what have you, and then get it ready to get off to the printers.
That is going to be a gift because I've used mine, the old one, which is probably, 4 years old now? 5 years old, something like that.
Right.
Right, yeah, something.
I will email you the PDF of the new one, so you'll have the new recipes too, Tim, to go ahead and get started with.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to order the recipes book, you can order it online, and as soon as it's printed, you'll get the printed copy. But in the meantime, as soon as you order it, we'll send you the digital copy so you can begin to work with it immediately if you want to print off recipes or what have you. And we haven't really talked about, people who already have it doing some kind of an upgrade price or something. But we'll figure that one out, make sure it's available. So, and Ari has done, Jeannie has done just a huge amount of work on upgrading it to about 160 or so pages now.
Thank you both.
Sure.
Looking forward to it.
Are you going to join us, or are you...
For the Food, Fun, and Forgiveness, right now I'm trying to arrange the schedule so I can be there for the teacher's training, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make both.
Gotcha.
I've got to...
Just take the month off, Tim. Come through the month.
Oh, would that it were so.
All right. Very cool. Well, our call-in number is 646-200-4169. Has anybody got anything to share or any questions, thoughts, answers, ideas for us? Anything to report? Support group results, Dr. Tim.
Well, we're looking forward to another group tomorrow night, of course, and I had one of the people contact me last Friday and thank me for the work we did in Tuesday's group. The comment was that it was just so powerful. He did his own worksheet while we were working through someone else's, and he was grateful for the energy of support, and he was amazed that he could get so much done on his own worksheet while still being able to gain from the worksheet the other woman was doing, because he decided to do a worksheet on a similar theme with someone in his life to the theme she was working on, being upset by someone or thinking that she was being upset by something somebody else did.
Right.
So it's almost weekly we get testimonials from people about the power of the process and the benefit of having the group support. So, if you've been thinking about it, don't hesitate. Pull the trigger. Start your own group.
For sure. And, there's a young lady who was at a group we did a few weeks ago at Michael and Margaret's, and the 16-year-old girl worked through an issue where she was ready to punch somebody out and was able to laugh at herself over how silly it was. And then the next week, when a similar issue came up with 3 or 4 other kids in the car, she just turned around and handed them all worksheets and guided them through a worksheet. So it's amazing to watch how it's expanding and how it's moving. And our time is just about up. That was a quick hour. We appreciate you, Ari, David, Dr. Tim, Jeannie, Richard, Joanne. We hold your niece in our hearts and in our prayers, and we hold the space that everyone that we touch has the best year yet of their eternal lives. Blessings. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for listening to Mind Shifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife Jeannie, who present the internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeannie are here every Monday through Friday on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeannie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.